Give and Grow, what's going on? Ryan and Eric back at it again with another podcast episode. You're probably wondering, man, y'all have released this episode very quickly. You know, you just put out one last week. The thing is that the one that we're doing today is probably one of the most important podcasts that we probably put out so far this entire year. It's going to be in regards to the election. But before we get into that, I just want to thank you for all of your support for this channel. We've been doing very well on Give and Grow, and we wouldn't be here without y'all. We wouldn't be here without all the likes, the comments, the shares. I've been seeing a lot of shares on the videos. Very proud about that. We wouldn't be here without y'all. So I just want to thank y'all for everything that y'all have done for us. This episode is one that I think might give you a different perspective on this, because it is not an episode where we're talking about which candidate we're going for. We're not even going to be trying to bash the other side. The key of this episode when it comes to the election and the next president, we want you to be prepared for whatever happens, basically, whether or not if Trump comes into office or Kamala, their plans are going to affect us as people. They're going to affect us as investors for sure. So we want everyone to just be mindful and be prepared. You might be on one side and being like, oh, well, if the other side comes in office, then we're screwed. The thing is, though, is that America has had a lot of times in history where administrations have come, they've done something that has caused a lot of volatility. It might have caused a lot of great times. But the people that come out of that successfully are the ones that prepare for the good and the bad. That's something that we've for sure tried to iterate on this channel a lot.
I mean, there are going to be different routes that lead to different results. But for the overall, like, bigger picture, I'm not sure how big of a difference either one of those policies or multiple policies are going to potentially do to the actual situation that we're in the economy right now.
And what we're going to do is we're going to share what each side of them, like their overall plan with each one of these items. And then we're going to just have a regular, honest conversation about them. So the first one is going to be housing. The second one is going to be reducing inflation. And the last one is going to be taxes. So
Alrighty.
All things that really affect us and have been very, very hot topics. There is a lot more differences than there are similarities. There's some similarities, but there are definitely a lot more differences. We can start off by just going into affordable housing. I'll go over Kamala's plan first, and then I'll go over Trump's plan. So
let's hear it, man.
So Kamala's plan for affordable housing. The first one is increase funding for housing programs. The second one is tax incentives. The third one is strengthening tenant protections. The fourth one is addressing homelessness. And the last one is going to be zoning reforms. She wants to help the lower class with being able to afford homes. She wants to work on encouraging local governments to adopt zoning reforms to facilitate affordable housing development. She wants to help out with renter protection, which is like, you know, preventing stuff like evictions or things like that, and promote fair housing. And she wants to help with the homelessness problem, different plans for homeless people to get housing, essentially.
Yeah, good things. Okay.
Going into Trump's side for affordable housing, the first one is deregulation. Tax incentives is also another one. So this is one that they both kind of agree on. Public-private partnerships. And the last one is he wants to focus on home ownership. Overall, there's some similarities between the housing plan between Trump and the Trump administration and Kamala's administration. You know, they want to be able to help with like giving tax credits to companies that are in the development space for housing. But I think that a lot of what they differ on, if you were to look at, Democrats and Republicans, Democrats want the government to be more involved. I would say Republicans and even like Trump, I don't even know if Trump is even like a true Republican, but like pretty much he's on the side of like deregulation and giving more power to individuals and like companies, basically.
Yeah, and we should probably preface that just because Harris wins or Trump wins doesn't mean that all these things are going to come into effect, because it's not guaranteed it's going to be like a clean sweep.
Oh
of
yeah,
the government.
yeah, exactly.
Like you're going to have some red and blue mixed in there. So
Right.
it's going to be a lot of process, but these are just these are more selling points.
Right.
But yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's just something so that, when you're voting for one or the other, what they're supporting on this and what they're going to be trying to push.
What do you like about both of them, basically?
We'll start with Kamala's side.
Okay.
I think here in the States, we have a huge homelessness problem. I'm not sure how much I could see government interference with providing services for homeless people. I think that it's actually not a bad idea to figure out how to help that problem. Now, do I think that they should just be building apartments specifically for homeless people or building houses specifically for homeless people? Not really. I think it's probably more on like, how can we help them get them integrated back into society to be able to afford and get into a home.
Yeah.
So I think that like regarding the homelessness problem, it's more on equipping them
Exactly.
to make them be able to afford the home eventually. Overall, some things that I'm kind of indifferent about / I'm not really sure if it's a good idea. It's just throwing money at people to help them afford homes.
Yeah, so it doesn't fix the bigger issue.
Right, sure. because it's just going to cause inflation, which we'll get into later.
Well, but it also doesn't change, like, behaviors kind of lead to where you are, and just throwing money doesn't necessarily change your behavior. Yes,
right.
It gives you
That's
something. But what does that really teach you in life?
Yeah, it teaches a bit more reliance on the government.
There are some people that really they've just fallen on hard times through sickness or poor family situations. And they do, and yeah, my heart goes out to them. They do need some things, but majority of people have to change their behaviors first.
Yeah.
I think if you can help people in this nation that need help, I think that's a great thing. But I know at the end of the day, 100%, you need to strive to be the best version of yourself through your habits, through your health, through your education, working hard in your job. I think all those things are important. So if you can get a combination of all those things, still helping people that truly need it, that's just kind of where I stand on it.
Gotcha. I do want to go over Trump's plans in a bit more detail as well. Deregulation. Reduce regulations that hinder affordable housing developments, public and private partnerships, promote collaboration between government and private sectors for housing projects, and focusing on home ownership for the individual.
No, I mean, they sound good on paper, just like on the other side that we were just going over. Anytime you mix public and private and you mix government in, all I see is leverage. And ultimately that could lead to more inflation. I don't see a lot of these coming to fruition.
Right.
I think focusing on home ownership for individuals, I think, is probably my favorite one. Because at least you're building up an asset in a way, you're building up equity in a home. And a lot of people value that in America. I think out of all the ones, that's the one I like the most.
Yeah, I agree. Home ownership is probably one of the biggest ways to build wealth here in the States through like real estate, but even just like your own home. I think that the general consensus with like homes appreciating over time, kind of like what we've talked about in a lot of different episodes before, being able to help individuals be able to get into a home through building more homes is probably really big. But yeah, that's going to be the first one, affordable housing.
Okay, cool.
Pretty much one side wants to have a bit more government involvement, focusing on like the lower class, while the other side wants to have more on, the individual level, private sector. And like what we said before, there's pros and cons to both sides. Going from that, we're going to be going into the second one, which is reducing inflation. One of the biggest topics of all time is going to be inflation. In Kamala's camp, addressing supply chain issues, targeted economic relief, stable energy prices, while with Trump, another one for reducing inflation is more deregulation, energy independence, tax cuts, more trade policies, and focusing on monetary policy. We'll go a bit more in detail with Kamala's, and then we'll go into Trump's with this. So the biggest one that stood out to me right here is targeted economic relief. Provide financial assistance to low and middle income families.
Okay.
And the second one that really stuck out to me is focus on lowering prescription drugs and healthcare costs, which I think that healthcare is one of the most expensive things that I've seen. And, I work in the industry, and, I can see, our company does a lot to try to lower these, but still for a lot of people, they're very, very expensive, healthcare costs. But so basically Kamala's side is, helping lower income / middle class families, investing in renewable energy, which is a pretty decent idea.
Yeah.
And lowering healthcare costs. All these sound, really good. On paper.
Right.
Because kind of like what we talked about before, being able to get these implemented is going to be the biggest thing. Providing financial assistance to low and middle income families, it's a double-edged sword, because as much as I want lower and middle class, I've been in both of these camps before. As much as I want them to be able to have the things that they need, history shows if we turn on the money printers, we're going to cause more inflation. So I don't really know how that's going to look, honestly. Like, it might be something where there's programs that kind of help these families through, like, maybe there's got to be something attached to it outside of just giving them the money.
You have to change their behavior once again.
Right. It has to be something that you actually have to work for it to get it. Now, like, maybe it can be something where it's like, providing some like wage stability, or giving more opportunity for lower and middle income families to make more, like, investing in like education, like those things could be really good as well. Going into another one over here, addressing supply chain issues, strengthening supply chain, and invest in domestic production. I think that this is one that both sides actually agree on, bringing more work back to the States.
Yeah, pretty similar. Yep.
Yeah, so that's that's a positive, definitely on this one. Overall, just like, I just think that like printing money is going to ultimately lead to more inflation.
No, I agree.
Going to Trump's side, it says here, reduce regulations to lower business costs and consumer prices. Tax cuts, proposed tax cuts to stimulate economic growth and supply, which, you could see that as a form of money printing in a way, but I think it's a little bit different because...
Don't forget, y'all, inflation is a tax on you already, so don't be fooled by.
Don't be fooled. And then focusing on monetary policy. Trump has been very vocal about the Fed, about Jerome Powell, and how bad they've done everything. It says here that he criticized the Federal Reserve's policies affecting inflation, which, inflation came down in 2023 and 2024. So unless he's talking about long-term inflation,
he's trying to get Elon Musk in there, man.
Yeah, he wants to fully audit, the entire government. You never know what's gonna happen with that. But a lot of similarities in Trump's side, which helping out businesses, helping out companies here in the States. I think that Kamala and Trump both pretty much agree on that. Another one, energy independence, increase domestic oil and gas production to lower energy prices. If you invest in companies over here, that might be able to help our gas prices over here. And it might be able to help us have trades with people in different parts. Maybe there's like countries that are closer to us that it might benefit to get their oil from us than from the Middle East or something like that.
Yeah, but when you're the world reserve currency, I don't know. I wouldn't want to make... the high powers globally in oil angry.
yeah. It's all a power balance, I guess.
They might go to a different currency. I don't know, but who knows?
Well, in regards to inflation, there's a level of government involvement with whether or not they want to print more money to help people or figure out ways to help companies and stimulate the economy. I guess like the individual, and in this case, Kamala's side, I think, is more geared on giving people money in this case. Hopefully that's not just stimulus checks again. I think that's what caused a lot of our inflation issues that happened in 2022. Trump wants to cut taxes. So both sides have good points, but it's just something that you have to be mindful, with whatever side you're going with. Their decisions are going to affect you. Some might be a longer term effect, some might be a shorter term effect, but overall, it'll definitely affect you in one way or another.
Yes, sir.
I do want to point out, though, on Kamala's side, supporting local producers. It says here, invest in local food systems and sustainable agriculture to lower food prices. I really like this. And something that I think that that America is trying to do is trying to build up our agriculture. This is kind of like a side tangent, but look at the whole port strike thing that happened recently.
Yeah.
If you bring back more here and focus on what we got going on over here, then I think that it's going to help. I think that's one thing that a lot of people like more about Kamala compared to like Biden, is that she does want to bring a lot of that work and resources back here. A lot of people were complaining about how Biden was just giving Ukraine a lot of money. Like, a lot of them didn't like that.
Yeah, we still are.
Yeah, we still are. I mean,
now we can't even afford our own hurricane relief.
We can't even afford hurricane relief. That's insane. That's crazy.
And that's actually what I was going to bring up. She said she wants to invest in those things. But again, I say, where does the money come from? We're in so much debt. But you're right. We already know the answer. The printer is going to be turned on, and we're still learning. Guys, we're still learning. We're still learning a lot about this stuff.
Oh yeah,
so bear with us.
It's a very deep web. Like, it's a big web. Very, very political, very, very, delicate. It's a very delicate thing, even though it's like there's so many strands, like we're tied to so many countries for different commodities or different services or like different products. I think overall, though, we should be very involved with bringing stuff back over here. And I think that both sides are trying to achieve that. So if there's one thing that you can find solace in with both of these being on the same side as entities working for America, that's one thing that you can probably be happy that they both want to bring those things back here. Going into the last one, it's going to be taxes. This is a big one.
Oh boy.
So starting with Kamala's side, increase taxes on the wealthy.
Yeah.
Corporate tax reform, expand tax credits. We all like that one. Tax incentives for green investments. Interesting. And the last one being wealth tax discussion. Going into Trump's side, you have tax cuts for individuals and corporations, simplifying the tax code, eliminating estate tax. Interesting. Focusing...
wouldn't change much for us.
Focusing on economic growth and tax incentives for American manufacturing. There's a lot to talk about here. So we'll start with Kamala's camp. I want to start by talking about increasing taxes on the wealthy.
Yeah.
Now,
I feel weird saying this, but we'll say what you're going to say first.
No. Go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, taxing the wealthy, it feels like if you put all her plans together, it's, taking from the rich and then giving back to the middle and the poor class to, give them a chance to catch some of this wealth or capitalism in America. But what do you think? Like, what's your...
I think that there's a threshold. If you are doing very, very well, like I would even say you make even like $1 million a year, I don't think that this should affect you. Right. I'm just going to read what it says right here. The note says, it says, raise taxes on individuals earning over 400K to increase capital gain taxes. I don't believe that. Like, I don't think that should be a thing. I don't think individuals should be taxed in that way. I think corporations should be taxed. There are some companies, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Google, a very teeny tiny tax, nothing crazy, right? Nothing crazy. A teeny tiny one, and I might get a lot of hate for this. I don't care.
All right, Bernie. I mean, Ryan.
Well, sure. I think that they make way too much money.
Has the demand not created that?
It has, but the thing is, though, is that when you keep going, and the people down here are just struggling, and like a lot of the stuff really goes into more on like being able to raise the floor. Not by giving them money, but by giving them incentive and giving them skills.
Do you think more people struggle because of circumstances or because of behaviors and choices?
Probably behaviors and choices, I would say.
So let's just pretend that you were bringing in like $5 million a year, but I was bringing in like $50,000 a year, but I was having a hard time because of the economy affording my health care. I was having a hard time, my prescription drugs, my housing, all that. Do you think it would be fair that you were taxed a higher percentage?
See,
and then
this
that
is my
money
thing, though.
Would be
it can be able to,
because if people don't change,
I'm not saying
if people don't change their choices and behavior, are we really even doing anything?
No, but if the top keep going and all of us down here are struggling,
but you still have opportunity.
There is.
Now I will argue right now where we're at. Yes, there's a disparity, and
but that's going to keep going. That's that's
the wealth effect we talk about.
That's our entire history.
That's populism. Yeah.
But that's my thing. It's been happening since day one.
Yeah.
And there's times where we get destroyed, like the freaking Great Depression, where you might be able to have opportunity to be able to come out of that very, very wealthy by doing the things we talk about. But the thing is, though, is that if we keep going at this rate, people down here are going to cease to exist. Everything is going to be way more expensive. That's what I'm saying, though. I don't believe that they should be taxed at the rate that which, like, freaking Kamala Harris is trying to tax them at. Like,
but as millennials and Gen Z begin to step more into power in government and all this, and as boomers kind of go out, a lot of them have lived through what we're talking about. This populism
that might change.
So I do see policies changing over this time. We should do a study and see which nations actually do this well, like that have free market capitalism, but there's still relatively good health between all three classes. Right. I mean, to have a class in the first place, there's always going to be a poor class, a middle class, an upper class. And that in itself is kind of sad in a sense, but that's never going to change. The question is, what are you going to do to get as high as you can? And not in an unmoral manner, but with the resources you do have in America. Because if you were in Russia or China,
and like, I'm not saying that like what we have over here is terrible, because a lot of people say that. I don't think that at all. I think that we have the best economy. We're the best. We're literally the best nation in the entire globe. Yeah, by a landslide. The thing is, though, is that when you go a bit broad and you look at like these $1 trillion market cap companies, a tiny sliver, to be able to have the opportunity to be that big.
But the nation has allowed them to do that.
Right. But I'm not saying to give it to people. I'm saying to use that to help
the overall nation and economy.
Yes. Put it back into the economy. Yeah. Put it back into companies.
I think it has to go into the right systems.
I agree.
That's where we agree. Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is, neither side creates that for us. You know what I mean?
Right. You see, I agree. But I'm just saying, if it was like even like a 0.0001% of overall market cap per year, something, they're gonna remake that money in like one day.
Yeah.
And maybe even like half a day. That can be put back into some kind of program that can help the lower to middle class.
But see, I don't think they're going to put it into a program that's going to
see. That's the thing.
Like, how do you
this is probably
how do you increase? Because there's a psychological aspect to this. How do you increase people's behavior and awareness of what's actually?
It can probably go there. You can probably go to education
of what's causing the issues. So but I'm saying you can educate people all you want. You can give people information. It's like, don't eat this, don't do this, work out this. People still don't do it.
There needs to be a lot more push to find a middle ground, because on one end, it's like ultimate capitalism. We all reach for the stars. There's nothing that's going to stop us. On the other hand, we're also poor and we're dying. So we need government assistance. There needs to be a middle ground between these two.
But I think the highest powers in the United States don't want that to change, because there is so much money in big pharma. There's so much money in insurance companies. There is so much money in the food industry. All these awful foods that people put in their body every day, and they're not going to lose their money.
Yeah. If y'all want to have
this turned into a much deeper.
We can do a whole other podcast episode on this.
I apologize.
No.
But it's hard. It's hard to avoid when you start to talk about these things and get deeper into this, the root issues of a lot of these things.
Right. I mean, right now we got like $3 trillion market cap companies here in the States, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA. That's a lot of freaking money. And a tiny shave of that to, even help
Well, Bill Gates gives, millions and billions to philanthropy.
See, that's another thing.
But I feel like philanthropy is more global issue. Well, I can't say that. And you also get a tax write-off on that. But anyway,
see, that's the thing.
Doesn't fix
there needs to be incentives for companies to want to help people, and I feel like that there's none. I feel now I haven't really done much research into this, but why is there such a disparity between?
Well, you have to help people that want to help themselves.
Right. There has to be a way, and
there's not a lot of people that don't want to help. I shouldn't say that. It seems like there's a lot of people that want to help themselves.
But there's also a lot of people that don't want to help other people as well.
Well, yeah. But that's already known.
We're screwed in general. So
no. I'm saying that if that's already known, that's even more incentive for you to start busting your butt.
Exactly.
And that's why we want to all educate ourselves on these things to get a better understanding, to get it as fair as possible, but at the same time help people to strive to be the best they can be in life, and take advantage of this free market capitalism that you don't get in a lot of nations. And that it's still there. Yes, right now, is it a tough time? Absolutely. Are people feeling it? 100%. Do we have the answers to it all? No, but we do have systems and processes that are proven to consistently help you build wealth over the long haul and give you opportunity.
Right.
That's what we're all about.
A couple of other ones on here I wanted to bring up. Expanding tax credits, propose expanding earned income tax credits and child tax credits. It's pretty good. Support initiatives for renewable energy projects, so tax incentives for like green projects. Pretty good. Making a more sustainable, less toxic form of energy. And then wealth tax. Supports discussions around a wealth tax on ultra high net worth individuals. We've already talked a lot about that one, and I don't think that there should be an insane tax on individuals. Going into Trump's side though, because we talked a lot about Kamala's side, tax cuts for individuals and corporations. So the total opposite of what Kamala wants. Extend and build upon previous tax cuts. So helping out individuals and helping out corporations so that they can be able to expand and make more money. Focus on economic growth, emphasize tax policies that stimulate growth and job creation. We obviously really like that here in the States with unemployment rising and all this other stuff going on. You want to be able to help people have jobs. That's a big thing. Tax incentives for American manufacturing, advocate for tax breaks to boost domestic manufacturing. This is something that they both also agree on. Tax incentives to bring production back to the States is very, very big. But overall, I would say the biggest difference in taxes between one or the other is Kamala wants to increase taxes on the rich. Trump wants to decrease taxes. I was watching Dave Ramsey's interview of him, and he was talking about how like he was able to lower taxes from like 37% down to 21%. And now he says that he wants to try to lower it from 21 to 15%.
Wow. Was that a good episode?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I only watched parts of it.
Okay.
But
I'll have to check it out.
I mean, lowering taxes is pretty good.
If inflation's increasing, it's just net, but.
Right. So
I gotta stop being so negative.
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing. Overall, it's something that there's so many more things tied to this other than.
You're right.
Like, oh yeah, lowering taxes is great. Increasing taxes on corporations.
And I know I've said like a lot of these things won't get passed, but just remember what were a lot of Biden selling points for the last election, and that was student loan forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And I think at one point it was up to 10K forgiven, up to 50K eventually, but a lot of that didn't happen.
Yeah,
they tried, but it didn't get passed. So when I say a lot of this stuff won't get passed, I mean they're they're selling points.
Right. They're things that they want to get your vote, and
they're almost like worded in a way that if you truly just educate yourself a little bit on these things, you see that a lot of it's kind of just BS.
It is
on both sides.
Right. How I kind of want to end this is to talk a little bit more about something that, like, you've been talking about over the course of this is, what can you do?
Yes, sir.
What can you do during these times? If Trump gets elected, if Kamala gets elected, what are you going to do? The biggest keys is to focus on adapting to the circumstances that either one of these parties are going to bring. Like let's say Trump comes in and like he's promoting home ownership, like what he was saying, he's promoting tax cuts, and these things actually happen. Take advantage of those things. If Kamala comes in and they're providing incentives for you to be able to get out of your situation, not stay in there, get out of your situation and move towards a better life for you and your family. Mm-hmm. You should take advantage of whatever they give you. And regardless of like how you view either side, in the end, you're responsible for yourself.
Amen.
It's not Kamala Harris. It's not Trump. It's not the government. It's not your local government. It's no one but yourself. And you should be someone that should be taking advantage of the things that both of these candidates are going to provide you. Yeah, it's hard because there's a lot of things that you might not agree with one. There's a lot of things that you think that like one could do better than the other. So you're going to push for one, and that's fine. You should vote for whatever candidate you believe in. But the thing is that at the end of the day, whatever happens with either one of them, it's up to you to protect your wealth. It's up to you to make the money and to make good decisions, make quality decisions that is going to help you progress and rely less on them. I don't know why that sounded like that, but
beautiful.
But that's
man was inspired.
Yeah, you need to progress yourself and not rely on them to take you into the promised land. That's basically overall the general consensus of us. I don't care if Trump gets elected. I don't care if Kamala gets elected. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build my wealth. I'm trying to focus on the things that I can control. I'm trying to take advantage of the things that they're going to give all of us to some capacity. I'm going to navigate the things that they do that are probably going to be negative and find the good path that will bring me out of whatever happens, because, for all we know, either one of them is going to lead us into a recession. There's not one that's going to do better than the other, because governments going back all the way to the very, very beginning are not perfect, because people are not perfect. And the bottom line is you have to focus on yourself and the things that affect you more than trying to just bandwagon yourself into either one of these camps. So that's just my thoughts. But do you have any thoughts on what we talked about?
Man, I thought you said everything perfectly. I mean, it's in the day, whether it's Harris or Trump, it's not going to just magically change your financial situation. That's going to be up to you. And like Ryan was saying, from your budgeting, from saving your money, making good investments, continuing to learn. You do those things well, you're going to find success in any environment. Will there be harder times? Yes, but you're going to be prepared, and you're going to see those times as opportunities, just like you were saying. So that's what we're here to talk about. We're not here to beat up either side. We're not here to beat up people from any class. We want to love everybody. We want to educate we want everybody to win. That's what we're about.
Absolutely.
If you've watched us today in this video or in shorts, we like being corrected too. So if we were wrong about something or misspoke about something, let us know. We love to have a conversation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We don't run away from mistakes. Being a giver and a grower is about learning, most importantly. And so that's what we're going to continue to go, man. That's what we're going to continue to do.
Yeah.
But anything else, brother?
Oh yeah, I just want to thank y'all again for watching this episode. Just thank you for everything that y'all have done for us so far this year.
All righty. Until next time, let's continue to give and grow.